There you go. There we go. So welcome to our February 1st meeting. So the municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc acknowledges that it is located on the Treaty 21 territory. We are thankful to the generations of people who have taken care of this land, including the Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, the Munsee Delaware First Nation, and the Oneida Nation of the Thames. So our roll call this evening.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Eva Baker. I'm Acting Secretary Treasurer for the Committee of Adjustment. I'll be hosting this meeting and managing participants. Committee members joining us this evening include Member Kennis, Member Kumar, Member Palkman, Member McGuire, Member Derbyshire, and Member Terpstra, who is also our Chair. Member Vian is currently absent. Municipal staff in attendance this evening are Jennifer Huff, Director of Building and Planning, Aaron Besch, Planner with the County of Middlesex, and Melanie from the Legal and Legislative Services team. I would like to acknowledge at this time we have 4 individuals in attendance in person this evening and no participants joining us virtually. Tonight we have 3 applications to be heard by the committee. The chair will introduce each application and provide the applicant and agent an opportunity to speak to the application. The planner will follow with their report. The public will then be invited to make comments or ask questions about the application. The chair will then call upon the committee to ask questions and make comments before the chair calls for a vote on the application. Once a decision is made, there is a 20-day appeal period from the date of decision for minor variances and 20 days from the date of notice of decision for consents. If anyone wishes to be notified of the decision, you can make a request today or make a written request following this meeting.
Thank you, Eva. So first off, I need an approval for the agenda, a recommendation for this meeting to start. By Frank, seconded. By Mike, all in favor? And that carries. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Now the reading and correction or approval of minutes. Everyone's been able to see the minutes. Are there any approval or any changes we need to make? No, seeing none, I'm looking for an approval then from Steve. Randy, seconds. All in favor? And that carries. First off, also, I need a motion to accept correspondence. There was some recent correspondence that came to the committee. I need someone to make a motion. Frank and Brian seconds it. All in favor? Any comments? No comments on that? Okay. Then our first submission is application for minor variance A1 2024 at 26 Center Street West in Strathroy, and the owner of the property is Jaslow Properties. Aaron, would you like to give your report?
Thank you, Chair. So the first application before committee this evening seeks relief from section 10.42B of the zoning bylaw to permit a parking coverage of 51%, whereas a maximum of 40% is required in the C1 zone. The applicant is proposing to construct a mixed-use building with 2 commercial units on the ground floor and 12 residential units on the 2nd and 3rd stories above. So committee will be familiar with this property. We did deal with a minor variance for parking not too long ago. Through the site plan process that we are currently undertaking, it was identified that there was an additional variance. When the site statistics were initially calculated, parking coverage was included the parking spaces, drive aisles, and that did not include this portion of the driveway up to Center Street. So parking coverage does include this paved portion under the definition in our zoning bylaw. So a variance was required just to recognize that. I do want to say though that there has been no change to the plan. The plan is still as was originally proposed. This was just identifying a variance that was missed at the initiation of the site plan. The application was circulated as per the requirements of the Planning Act. We did not receive any internal comments from any of our departments. We did receive, and they've been added and circulated to the committee prior to this evening. We received 2 additional comments. One was received from the public. There was a neighbor on Center Street who had concerns regarding on-street parking and the concerns that they have for them as it stands today. I did want to just note to the committee, though, I did accept the comments. However, the scope of the application this evening does not deal with parking space requirements or parking ratio requirements. What we are dealing with this evening is parking area coverage. So I don't have any conditions that came out of that comment from the public. We also did receive comments from CN Rail. This property is approximately 240 meters from the CN Rail line that runs through the center of Strathroy. They have a 300-meter proximity buffer that they may comment on applications, development that happens within that area. They did suggest some conditions that the committee could consider including as part of this application. However, they do not appear to be sort of relevant to this application as well. They speak to the requirement of a noise and vibration study, as well as an additional clause to be placed on title of the property, just warning future purchasers about potential noise or vibration. So staff are not recommending any additional conditions on the application that came out of these comments. This is likely better dealt with at the site plan stage. My recommendation this evening is that the application meets the 4 tests. Therefore, I am recommending that the application be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. I see Rick Lubens in the back there. Do you have any comments to add or anything else to add to this file?
No, that's it. Thank you.
You're good? Okay, then I'll go to the committee. Any questions at the committee? Frank?
I guess not necessarily about this one, I guess on CN in general, like how much influence would they have if they were to object in a situation like this or anywhere within that zone?
Through the chair to Member Kennis, great question. I have reached out to them in previous applications when they've provided comment as well, and they say they're not required conditions. They encourage municipalities to add them as conditions to their planning applications, but they are not required.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, then I'm looking for a recommendation for approval. Frank, supported by Steve. All in favor? And that passes. Thank you.
From today, the 20-day appeal period will begin. During this time, either the applicant or prescribed public body can appeal a decision made by the committee by making an application to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If no appeal has been made following 20 days, the minor variance declaration will be issued.
Okay, thank you for that. The next application for consideration, 5.2, is an application for consent B21-2023, 6729 Calvert Drive, County Road 10. Owners are James and Susan Lumen. And Erin, would you like to do your report on that one?
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I'm moving a little quick. I'm falling behind. Okay. So the next application, 6729 Calvert Drive. So this is a surplus farm dwelling severance. The property as a whole is approximately 28 hectares in size. The applicant is proposing, oops, this is the wrong map. I am so sorry. Goodness. Here we are. So the applicant is requesting to sever a 0.67 hectare or 1.66 acre Goodness gracious, guys, I'm so sorry.
No map yet.
Oh my
Here it comes.
goodness. I brought it up on my own computer. There we go. All right. So this residential lot is proposed to be 0.67 hectares in size. The lands contain a single detached dwelling, which is privately serviced and accessed via 2 existing driveways on Calvert Drive. The applicant has advised that the septic system and well are wholly located on the severed lot. The proposed lands to be retained would be approximately 27.3 hectares in size. The lands contain a drive shed and several grain bins, which are proposed to be retained with the farm parcel. So I will note on the aerial photo, it shows that there's several sort of livestock buildings. Those are no longer there. The drive shed is still used by the applicant, and there are 2, I think, bins here as well. So the structures are accessed via an existing driveway off of Calvert, which is just to the west of the proposed residential lot. The application was circulated as per the requirements of the Planning Act. The Director of Building and Planning recommended a condition of approval be included requiring a drain reapportionment if required. The County Safety and Standards Officer provided his standard comments for these types of severances. However, the farm parcel does appear to have a 911 address already assigned. So that is an easily satisfied condition. The county engineer advised that the owner will be required to dedicate lands up to 18 meters from the center line of construction, road construction, and that's across both the severed and retained properties. The St. Clair Region Conservation Authority advised of no concerns. So I am satisfied that this parcel qualifies for a surplus farm dwelling severance in that the owners own multiple properties with more than one farmhouse. The lands will be required to be rezoned to agricultural small holdings, as well as the A3 zone for the larger farm piece, which will restrict additional residential uses. The parcel size is appropriate and does include access and as well as the private services that currently supply the house. And I'm satisfied that the lot size is appropriate to accommodate all of that. In regards to the drive shed and grain bins on the lands to be retained, I don't have any concerns about them remaining on site. However, I do once we receive the reference plan from the applicant, we will be reviewing for setbacks for the drive shed, as it does appear to be fairly close in proximity to the new boundary. As the properties are being separated, there's 2 additional items that need to be addressed. One of them being that there's a driveway that extends from the residential property to the drive shed at the rear. So I am recommending a condition that be removed or grassed over, just sort of eliminate the option for the residential owner to access the structure at the rear. In addition, there is a hydro line that's from the residential lot that services this the grain bins at the rear. So my recommendation is that be removed. These conditions have been advised to the applicant as well. So my recommendation this evening is for approval, subject to the 13 conditions. And again, they're all standard consent conditions, save and except for 7, 9, and 10, which deal with the hydro line, the removal of the access, and the land dedication requirement. Thank you.
Okay, that's a lot of conditions. Is there anyone in our audience that wanted to speak to this afternoon? Yes?
Just say that Aaron did a great job, and just to confirm too, the hydro has already been disconnected. I forgot to tell Aaron to those bins.
Good.
They're like 2 little gravity bins standing on a structure. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, there's just 2 little ones.
Okay.
There, and everything's
Excellent.
disconnected. Yep.
Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Any questions, concerns from the committee? Start with Steve.
So just If the property lines as they're suggested are too close to the drive shed, what happens then?
All right.
Through the chair to Member Palkman, it's something as simple as recognizing it through the rezoning. We can recognize a deficient setback, so it doesn't meet the side yard setback that would be required in the A3 zone. There's also, these lines are very much just drawn by our GIS team. The surveyor on ground will have a much clearer idea of what that setback is. And if it's, whole meters or whatever it is, then that's fine. We can recognize anything like that through the zoning.
So it doesn't mean another application?
No, it does not mean another
Okay,
application.
that's what I just wanted to make sure that we didn't trigger a second application because it's too close to the property line. Okay.
Yeah, fair comment. Any other comments? Mike?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if the property owner wants to answer this, or Eva. I'm not sure if you have the answers, but I just want clarification. When I'm looking at the map, that one there. So the two long buildings and that kind of area has all been cleaned up and everything's been removed, correct?
Yeah, so all of those barns are all gone. The barns to the right, we cropped that now, so we brought in, like we can bring it, but it's just cropped land. And the other one, there's still, the barn is all down, but the cement pad is still existing to that barn on the left.
And the reason I'm asking that, Chair, is with the comment about taking out the lane that would be to the east of the house or the upper portion of the photograph, is it necessary if the property owner wanted to leave the majority of that lane in, but for instance, continue the hedgerow across the back? I mean, the concept is that you can't drive from the back of your property onto another piece of property. That's the concept that the condition is trying to prevent, correct?
Through the chair to Member McGuire, absolutely. It is not a removal of the driveway itself. It is simply discontinuing the portion that touches the rear part. Like, they could continue the hedgerow, they could sod it, they could seed it, whatever is required to just make that separation. It does not have to be the entire driveway.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions? No, and if not, I'm looking for a recommendation for approval. Mike, supported by Brian, all in favor? And that passes.
Shortly following this meeting, a notice of decision will be issued, at which point the 20-day appeal period will begin. During this time, either the applicant or prescribed public body can appeal the decision made by the committee by making an application to the Ontario Land Tribunal. No appeals are made following the 20 days. The consent declaration will be issued.
Okay, thank you, Eva. And our third application for consent, 5.3, it is number B22023, and it's 6743 Old Drive. And I understand the owners, the Merricks, are here today. Hello and welcome. Aaron, if I can have you do your report on this one.
Absolutely. So the next application before committee this evening is another surplus farm dwelling severance. It's 6743 Old Drive. The subject property is approximately 33.25 hectares in size. The lands proposed to be severed are approximately 0.45 hectares in size, or 1.1 acres. The lands contain a single detached dwelling, which is privately serviced, and a garden shed, which are accessed via an existing driveway. The applicant has advised that the septic system and well are wholly contained on the proposed residential lot. The remnant farm parcel would be approximately 32.8 hectares in size. It contains primarily land and agricultural production. It does contain a municipal drain, which is regulated by St. Clair, and there's a segment of woodlot as well that has been identified as significant woodlands. So the application was circulated as per the requirements of the Planning Act. The Director of Building and Planning recommends a condition for drain reapportionment if required. The County Safety and Standards Officer requests that the severed surplus farm dwelling retain the municipal 911 address, and then an additional address be assigned for the remnant farm parcel. St. Clair advised of no concerns with the application. So my analysis of the application was that it does qualify for surplus farm dwelling severance in that the applicants own more than one farm parcel and more than one farmhouse. The property will require rezoning to limit agricultural uses on the severed residential lot, as well as rezoning of the larger farm piece to prohibit future residential dwellings. The size of the property has been delineated because the house itself is quite small. So the landowner is requesting additional land, bleeds into their farmland at the side here. But the reason for that is that the septic is on the other side of the house, so if a future purchaser wants to put a garage or some sort of addition, their really only option is out to the east. The house is also quite close to the property line, so any redevelopment of the lot, they would be required to meet the agricultural A2 zone setback. So we have included some additional land at the rear to accommodate some future development as well. So I am satisfied that this application meets our tests of consent, and I am recommending approval subject to the 11 conditions that are included in my report, and they are all standard surplus farm dwelling severance conditions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Erin. And the Merricks, do you have anything to add to this one?
No, just that we farm and we really don't want to be landlords anymore. We're getting a little bit older, so that's kind of our idea, to let somebody else take over and, look after the property, hopefully the way we have. So.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that. Any questions from our committee? No, seeing none, then I'd like a recommendation for approval from Brian, supported by Randy. All in favor? And that's supported and passed.
Shortly following this meeting, a notice of decision will be issued, at which point the 20-day appeal period will begin. During this time, either the applicant or prescribed public body can appeal the decision made by the committee by making an application to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If no appeal has been made following the 20 days, the consent declaration will be issued.
Thank you, Eva. So moving on to our agenda number 7, any inquiries by members? No, seeing none. Other business? Attached, you saw in our minutes, the 2023 Committee of Adjustment Annual Fee Refund Report. Eva.
Thank you, Chair. So the committee approved the Committee of Adjustment refund policy in June of last year. And so since that point on in 2023, we received 1 refund request. The summary of that refund request is in the report. We also received no appeals or waiver requests. If there's any questions?
Thank you for that. So the report is just received by the Committee of Adjustment for information. I don't think we need to do an approval, but thanks for that.
Or I think we need to receive it. We need to receive it, so.
Okay, then recommended by Frank, supported by Brian. All in favor? There we go. Thank you. Number 9 is schedule of meetings. Our next meeting is set for Thursday, March 5th at 5:30, and the next one after that is April the 4th for 5:30. And it gets to our adjournment. I need someone to, Frank, to motion that, and Brian to support it. All in favor? Thank you, sirs, and we are adjourned.